Здравствуй, мой дорогой друг. И мы с тобой продолжаем путешествие в Divinity Original Sin 2. За кадром я сбегал к торговцу, прикупил штанишки ящера вот эти вот, которые дают к стойкости и восприятию. И фану заменил щит. И, как говорил, взял навык пешка ящеру и нашему хоббиту, зверя, ладно, его можно называть. Так, Сибили взял палача. Теперь нам нужно наконец-таки отправиться в лабиринт. Отсюда я тоже уже шмоточки достал. Оттуда мне выпал какая-то фиолетовая шмотка. Вот эти вот штаны выпали мне оттуда. На зверя. Так. Мне вот знаешь, что интересно? Напиши в комментариях, пожалуйста. У меня для него есть талант. Первозданная магия, то есть дает шанс заклинаниям на крит. У меня сейчас шанс на крит 31. Действует ли это на эти бафы? Если ты знаешь, дорогой друг, пожалуйста, напиши это. Очень интересно, а то, может быть, зря я прокачал это. Так, все, наконец-то мы выйдем из этого лабиринта. А то он уже надоел, если честно. Посмотрю, что там внутри.
Here, did I ever tell you of the time I cursed that court eunuch to speak only truth and he admitted pleasing Bacchus's mistress? Yes, you did. How about the time Bacchus asked me to cast the dance macabre? Yes, I recall. And the time I travelled to... Yes. But what about... Yes. And...
Yes.
Please, shut up. Got any fives?
Our fives are naught but dust. They crumbled to nothing centuries. You can just say, go fish, you know?
Here, did I ever tell you of the time I cursed that court eunuch? Court eunuch to speak only truth and he admitted pleasing Bacchus's mistress. Yes, you did. How about the time Bacchus asked me to cast the dance macabre? Yes, I recall. And the time I travelled to...
Так, нам надо еще кому-то все зеленки скинуть.
Yes. But what about... Yes. And... Please, shut up.
Так, а жемчужина ящера.
Our fives are naught but dust. They crumbled to nothing centuries before. You can just say, go fish, you know?
Do you ever wonder if your lizard empire still stands?
I need not wonder. The empire abides,
Кошмар, знаешь, что я
never straying
осознаю
from its
то, что это
course.
только первый
It is
остров.
eternal as we.
И мы здесь уже столько
Verily,
серий
I say,
лазим. Ну
lizards
что
speak
будет
as I
дальше?
do, and my great
Кошмар.
house, the house of trade,
Только
rules
начало.
still. I don't doubt that fortunes wax and wane, but the empire remains unchanging.
Here, did I ever tell you of the time I cursed that court eunuch? Court eunuch to speak only truth and he admitted regretted pleasing Bacchus's mistress? Yes, you did. Ah, how about the time Bacchus asked me to cast? The dance macabre, yes. And the final travel.
Так, я думал, это наш хоббит. А ящер почему-то пошел.
But what about... Yes.
Так, Сибилу, интересно, получится туда как-то закинуть. По-тихому, скажем так. Блин, надо было здесь поверхность сделать. Так, бочку надо с собой забрать, это вечно проблема. Ну что ж, поболтаем.
As you enter the room, you see 3 skeletons sitting around a table, cards in hand. They creak and turn.
Beating heart. Does Bacchus need us once more, Jamie? Are we finally to be freed? You're not one of Bacchus's brood. You're not Gratiana's pet.
The flesh yearns for our secrets. Did I not say?
Even after the maggots took your tongue, you still talk too much. Silence your jaw.
О, Гратиана.
You pretend you have never heard of the progeny of Rask? Of the devilish weapons I crafted for Brachus Rex when I called him Lord? It brings me such pleasure to know that my name is still spoken, brother. All should know that no weapons can stand against mine.
Oh, truly, Rask, your brilliance knows no bounds. Perhaps this century your genius mind...
By my scales, Tamsin, must you go on? Brachus locked my inventions away with your toys. Had I but one of my creations, we should be free of this place. More than mere weapons. Traps, purging wands, war wagons, every tool.
And the torture chambers. Brachus loved them beauties. Not quite as much as Gratiana did mind. You should have seen her face.
I'll never forget the smile she wore as we died.
А мы много узнали
And
об
our
этой Гратиане.
spirits sealed away in those soul jars.
Офигеть.
Destroying the soul jars that bind us here.
But beware. They are found in a distant treasure vault, guarded by traps.
By the horns of boundary you design. One reasonable trap.
And thine were better. Couldst thou have brought...
Oh, mine did not constantly disintegrate the laborers building them.
The fault was in thine zombies. The worms in your skull follow instruction better than they.
Ever the joker, that man. We design a fault of brilliant cunning and he hides our soul jars in it. As for us, we get a tower with gargoyles.
We have spent centuries trying to escape this tower, but our power was too weak. There was no...
At least until your gorgeous self opened the door. Now we just need the source from your pretty little corpse, and then we're free.
Worse than this.
Thou art fortunate. When I still wore scale. But time brings perspective. And perspective brings mercy.
How's about a trade? Our deaths for your life? You walk out of here, and leave us your word that you'll destroy our soul jars.
Trusting flesh to do bones work? It seems foolish, but very well.
Do you ever wonder if your lizard empire still stands?
I need not wonder. The empire abides.
Так, я хочу попробовать их замочить.
It is eternal as we. Verily, I say, lizards speak as I do. And my great house, the house of trade, rules still. I don't doubt that fortunes wax its way.
Сколько нам опыта дадут, если мы их разобьем?
Why are you still here? You have a vault to uncover and a soul jar to destroy. This island was a research facility. A safe place for him.
You didn't ever see him without a book in his hand, always reading about some ancient race. He weren't the sharing kind.
The results of his research allowed us to recreate Persian runes based on an ancient design he found.
He was convinced that great ancient knowledge lay in this land.
Greater intellects than mine. The skeleton turns and spits, producing a gob of dust that wafts slowly to the ground.
Brachus's whore, and more besides. She helped his rise to power, feeding him the source of the inner...
She were a canny lass, no question. Treacherous and deceitful.
She murdered countless innocents. Women, children, families, towns.
Do you ever wonder if your lizard empire still stands? Why are you still here? You have a vault. Do you ever wonder if your lizard empire still stands?
This jar glitters and glows. From within you think you can... With a jerk, your mind is pulled to a scene in a tavern. You see a dwarf in the center of the room, joking us all around roar with laughter. The door opens, and a tall, beautiful woman stalks into the room. She's flanked by heavily armed guards. The dwarf mutters a word, and the undead lurch towards the intruder, but are cut down like wheat. The dwarf tries to run, pushing her friends into the woman's path. As she's dragged away to a tower, you hear her cursing Brachus Rex and his whore. Even when she's thrown inside, you pull your hand away from the jar, your head swimming. You can feel the dwarf's cold terror still twisting in your gut. The jar shatters like glass, but a spirit rises from the shards like smoke. The ghost of a dwarf, bedecked in necromancer robes.
Beautiful. Thank you. My death waits.
Why are you still here? You have a vault to un...
The soul jar you see, or rather, you feel, a far-off land. Frozen breath hangs in the air. Pine needles brush your vision swims. You're older, but perhaps not wiser. You march at the head of a sham. The scene twists again. Now Brachus stands before you, a beautiful woman at his side. You lash out in treasonous rage, but you feel a jolt and open your eyes to see the soul jar before you, lying still in the vault. A human spirit slips from the ruins of the jar. Decked in necromancer robes, she turns to you.
Thanks, young one.
The house of
time
trade
of death.
rules still. Still you linger, while my soul jar goes unbroken.
Как умею.
The jar on the plinth, the pictograms spin to life, and you're dragged into a dream. You see the lizards of the ancient as you roam. The human apes turn away from you, all but one. One smiles, one opens his arms, one says he promises power for a price. He picks off your golden scales, one by one, stripping you down to the bone. You try to fight, try to reclaim what's yours, but a woman takes you by the hand and leads you to... He promised he'd take me home, you cry. You are home, she smiles as she seals. Your hand drops away from the... You see a shape emerge from the ruins of the broken jar. A lizard in the finest necromancer.
Farewell to flesh.
Четыре
Farewell
вместе.
to bone.
Farewell.
Не нравится. Надо будет, короче, сначала убить, а потом кувшин открыть.
Do you ever wonder if your lizard empire still stands?
I need not wonder. The Empire abides, never straying from its course. It is eternal as the moon. Very stable. And my great house, the House of Rain, rules. I don't doubt that fortune waxes.
I will yield to none.
Блин, мелкого нашего обнаружил. Зашибись. Ты гонишь, блин. Превосходно. Я думаю, я лечусь. Зашибись. Так, я пропустил у него подвали. Да. Значит, не увидел сколько. Так, а они разве в остатке не
Oh,
нужны?
if only death were that simple.
Hang on. Killed you twice now. 3 times makes the
Canst thou
charm.
not see? The soul jars bind us here.
You can grind our bones to bread. Got any fives?
Our lives are not replaced. They crumbled to nothing centuries before. Oh, you can just say go fish, you know?
Do you ever wonder if your lizard empire still stands?
I need not wonder.
Ну давай еще раз попробуем.
It is eternal as the Verily, I say, lizards speak as I do, And my great house, the house of trade, rules still. I don't doubt that fortune waxes and wanes, but the empire remains unchanging.
Doesn't it? Hurts, doesn't it?
Worms take you.
Вот, и далее.
Stay dead.
Simple.
Can you please just You see a skeleton sitting alone at a table, playing solitary cards. It creaks and turns to stare.
We were creatures of power once.
Why, my darling? Just simple necromancers. Simple, dead, cursed necromancers.
The harlot Gratiana.
Gratiana told her master, priestess of Amadia. I've no
She found a god other than herself. I'll believe it when I see it. Her sins are so much darker than ours. She used to laugh as she recounted her deeds.
We were...
Brachus kept us to craft
The Shriekers were a favourite of Brachus's. He found the plans for him in some dusty place. Ancient...
No, the Shriekers came from an ancient time, something Brachus uncovered on his own. Powered up? Why, just walking in the door was help enough. We've not had a whiff of sauce in...
It's been a long time since I've had something worth nibbling. Your sauce, though? I reckon that'll...
For 1,000 years, I've had to listen to...
Я уже задолбался их убивать, если честно. Хочу умирать, что ли?
Can you please just stay dead? Can you please just stay
Canst thou
dead?
not see? The soul jars bind us here.
This jar glitters with a jerk. The dwarf, as you pull the jar shatters like glass.
Beautiful. Thank you. My death waits.
The vision.
I can do little but condemn that necromancer's cowardice and good.
I've rarely seen such cowardice.
Keeping the being locked?
Do you ever wonder if your lizard empire still stands?
The soul jar stands on it. You see your scene. You feel a human.
Thanks, young one.
The necromancer's memories fade.
We're better.
One.
The jar on the picture as you your hand drops away from you see.
Опа, вот еще
The long dead lizard's visions fade.
Such selfishness, such unneeded pain. Disgusting.
I can't help but sympathize with it.
One can't. In the end, he was.
Так, в этой комнате все.
Look out. I see a trap nearby.
Among the long crumbled remains of the temple that must have once sheltered his... Among the long crumbled remains of the temple... Among the long crumbled remains... Among the
Фу-фу себе. 10 шот скрыт удар. Ой, там сейчас скрыт вообще. Так мало. А, мне этот 7 дает. Так, где-то банка. Банка. Блин, перепутались. Банка с червями. Где она? Блин, забыл про это молиться, все. Надо не забывать его одевать. Да ё-моё. А, все вот. Какая радость.
You approach the still body and see its nostrils flaring. Long dead eyes rise. As you lean in close, it lurches forward. Its arms thrash against the cage bars as it tries to reach you. You approach the still body and see its nostrils flaring. Long dead eyes rise to meet yours. As you lean in close, it lurches forward. Its arms thrash against... You approach the still body and see its nostrils flaring. Long dead eyes rise to meet yours. As you lean in close, it lurches forward. Its arms...
Понятно. Ничего нельзя. Когти пожиратели. Интересно, будет меняться сила, свойства или нет? Но, наверное, в уникальных вещах будет стандартно, который прописали. Ну да.
The heavy gauntlets are cold to the touch. A prickle travels up. The flickers of memory fill your mind. You long for solitude. The subtle scent of parchment. The memory vanishes, burned away by heat. Ash falls from...
I see you. And inside you is the strength I've been looking for. Patience. You must prove you must find that place of longing in the home of a young scholar. I will draw strength from there to speak again.
Юного ученого.
As the heat around you fades, the desperate memory returns. It claws at you, trying to take...
Глаз жнеца. Где вообще это? Шестой уровень. Шикарно. Эх ты ж. Ну, отлично, они хотя бы не прокляты.
You approach the still body as you lean in.
Так, давай зомбиару освободим, чтобы потом его завалить.
You approach as you lean.
Ничего, он робот. Казнь.
I think I'll stay off that particular device.
что там у нас дальше? Анушка, серьезно. Ого. И 7 уровень добавок. Мой-то 9. Да, я же с дракона выбил точно. Хотя силы телосложения мне важнее, но все же. То защита намного лучше. Потрепанный чертеж, он мне послушал, он прочитал череп. Кувшин душ. Иллюзии, король брак. Так, вроде ничего не пропустил. По-любому что-то с этим сундуком не так. Восприятие, уклонение. Ну, мой лучше. Попробуем открыть хотя бы, по-любому сейчас будет какая-то неприятность. Ну, все нормально. Левел только маленький, обидно. Мститель. Ну, короче, ерунденько. Интересно, ключи продавать? Да, нельзя. Иллюзия, король брак. Что это значит? А, вот уже рычаг.
Something seemed to move into place.
И что же это могло быть? Так, решетка открылась. Тоже хорошо. Ворота, наверное, открылись. Мне это нравится очень.
Look out.
Careful now.
I see a trap.
That's a trap.
Крысятина.
Sarcastic me? Not at all. I'd never be sarcastic me. Oh no, not in the least.
The rat's eyes wide.
I don't know anything about this place. Nor do I know anything about a blood rose, or a witch, or some dead people. Oh yes, that's right. I'm so going to give you all the information you want, while you do nothing. Look, I don't have a problem that means I can't tell the truth.
It makes a face that says, understand? The rat gives you a grave and meaningful look, inviting...
I don't think the problem is in my head, and further to that, I don't think the problem could be I can categorically state that a short, sharp shot with something of a magical persuasion, and I do not invite you to look at the subtext in what I just said. You are not a bastard, not a...
Что-то прикола не понял.
It's lovely to see you again. I'd be devastated were you to... You don't look lost at all. Sarcastic me? Not at all. I'd never be sarcastic. I do not.
The rat gives you a desperate look. Help me. The rat opens its mouth to speak. Can't say anything. So it nods its head, then shakes its head, then nods it again. The rat tries to nod its head and fails. It tries to shake its head and fails. Its head ends up doing a strange, jerking diagonal.
This is not frustrating, and you are not a clever creature, not having rumbled my quad.
The rat makes a face that says, well, duh. The rat gives you a grave and meaningful look.
I don't think the problem is in my head, and further to that, I don't think the problem could be unscrambled by the use of sauce. I can categorically state that a short, sharp shot with something of a magical, and I do not invite you to look at the subtext in what I just said.
The rat gives you a long stare that tries and fails to say, of course not. The rat breathes a long sigh of relief, closes its eyes, and steels itself away.
Dead? I suspect that's what it wanted all along.
It's lovely to... You still don't look...
He looks... The air around the glowing relic thrums with power as the source barrier quietly crackles in the background. As you stretch towards it, you start to hear whispers in the back of your mind. From the corner of your eye, you see dark shadows rising. As your fingertips brush the surface, the whispers, your fingers burn with cold as you pull them away, and you can feel a darkness twisting in your gut. The relic crackles against your power, but as your magic subsides, you see it's done nothing. It will take more powerful magic than that, it seems. The hum of the relic grows louder, and bright light starts to spill from its runes. Crack.
Вот так вот. Так, это что, усыпальница брака, что ли? Походу, да. Тут какие-то иллюзии должны быть. Так, скрытность. 7-й, 8-й уровень. Сколько у меня вообще там скрытности? 17. Я скрытностью особо не пользуюсь. Шанс крита. Электрическое касание. Сила 12. Но у ящера покруче. Да и у моего хоббита тоже. А всем остальным силы не хватит. О, вот он, наш колодец. Маленькая книжка больших бабахов. Отличное название. Блин, а я хочу достать. И туда тоже.
Dead? I suspect that's what it wanted all along.
3 косых опыта. Опа, воровство. Классно. Хотя... Давай сделаем сохранение. И попробуем... поменять характеристики. Ну то вдруг там будет 2 к охоте или военному делу. Блин. А нет. Тут не так работает. А, нет, вот так похоже, наверное. О, дальний бой. Только уровень 1, блин. Падла. Может, то, что везучесть поменялась. Фигово. Похоже, тут поезд был самым лучшим. Не, ну дальний бой, конечно, круто для Сибилы было бы. Отлично просто. Но первый уровень, он практически в районе. Обмен, лидерство. Тоже такое себе. Что ж, мой дорогой друг, давай, пожалуй, будем на этом серию нашу заканчивать с тобой. Я за кадром повыбиваю этот поясочек, и ты уже увидишь, что нам попалось. Спасибо тебе за просмотр, и увидимся с тобой в следующей серии. Пока-пока.